Tonight, we are going to drift together into a place that very few people ever truly contemplate. Not out of fear, but out of wonder. We will travel beyond the edge of everything familiar, beyond the cities and the stars you might see on a clear evening from your window, beyond even the reach of our greatest telescopes and our most ambitious spacecraft. We're going to explore the emptiness of the universe. And yet, this emptiness, this vast, unimaginable void, it is not what you might think it is. It is not the absence of something. It is not a mistake or an accident waiting to be filled. Instead, imagine for a moment that you are standing at the very edge of understanding itself, looking out into something so fundamentally profound, so deeply mysterious, that the very concept of emptiness begins to transform into something else entirely. Before we venture any deeper into this darkness, into this infinite calm we're about to explore together, I want to say this gently. If you find that this journey brings you peace, if these words and these ideas help you rest, then perhaps you might support this channel by liking this video, by subscribing if you haven't already, and by sharing where you're listening from. Maybe leave a comment somewhere out there in the world, in the darkness, with all the other dreamers and wanderers and seekers. We're all floating together in this same universe. And somehow, that matters. Now, let's begin. The emptiness of the universe is not something we can truly see with our eyes. Our eyes are built to detect light, and light, beautiful as it is, only touches the tiniest fraction of what actually exists. But let's start with what we do know, what we can understand, even as we drift toward deeper mysteries. If you were to stand on the earth right now, at this very moment, and you looked up into the night sky, you would see perhaps 2,000 or 3,000 stars. Just with your naked eye, on a clear night, away from the lights of cities. 2,000 or 3,000 pinpricks of light scattered across the darkness above you. It seems like quite a lot, doesn't it? It seems like the universe is rather full of stars, densely packed across the sky like diamonds on black velvet. But here's where the story becomes strange. Here's where we begin to understand what emptiness really means. Each of those stars you see is not close to you. Not close in any human sense of the word. The nearest star to our sun, other than the sun itself, is Proxima Centauri. And it would take you, traveling in a spacecraft faster than anything we have ever built, more than 70,000 years to reach it. 70,000 years. Think about that for a moment. 70,000 years ago, your ancestors were just beginning to develop language, just beginning to paint on the walls of caves and tell stories around fires. And that's the nearest one. Let me guide you through this slowly, gently, as you settle deeper into comfort. The distances in space are so vast that they become almost unreal. Our minds didn't evolve to understand them. We understand distances in terms of meters and kilometers, in terms of hours and days of travel. But space laughs at these measurements. Space reshapes them. Scientists came up with a new way to measure these distances. They call it the light year. A light year is the distance that light travels in 1 year, moving at 300,000 kilometers per second. Just let that settle into your mind for a moment. Light is the fastest thing that exists. Nothing can move faster than light. And yet, a light year is such a common measurement in space because distances are so incomprehensibly vast. The sun is at the center of our solar system, and the nearest star, Proxima Centauri, is 4.2 light years away. 4.2 light years. That means that the light we see from that star right now, as you're listening to these words, left that star 4.2 years ago. You are looking at a message from the past, written in photons, traveling across the emptiness. But imagine now, expanding your perspective even further. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, contains somewhere between 200 billion and 2 trillion stars. The estimates change as we observe more carefully, as our instruments improve. But let's sit with the lower number for a moment. 200 billion stars. That's more stars than there are people on Earth. more stars than every person who has ever lived, multiplied many times over. And these stars are not evenly distributed. They cluster and swirl. They form a great spiral, a vast pinwheel rotating slowly in the darkness. And we, on our little blue planet orbiting a modest yellow star, are somewhere in the outer reaches of one of those spiraling arms. But here's the truth that begins to reveal the emptiness. Most of this galaxy is empty space. The stars in our galaxy are so far apart that if you could somehow shrink the Milky Way down to the size of a city, the stars would be like individual grains of sand scattered across an entire continent. You could walk for days and never encounter 2 grains of sand close to one another. The emptiness would surround you in all directions. And yet, we have only just begun to understand what emptiness truly means. Beyond our galaxy lies something almost impossible to contemplate. Beyond the Milky Way are other galaxies. Billions of them. Billions upon billions. Each one containing billions of stars. Each star, potentially, surrounded by planets. Each planet a world unto itself, full of complexity and mystery, and perhaps, in some cases, the stirrings of life itself. As you lie there, breathing slowly, drifting deeper into the comfort of these words, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine that you are rising up from the earth. You float past the moon, which is remarkably close, only 3 days of travel away. You pass by Mars and Jupiter and Saturn, watching the planets recede below you. The sun becomes smaller and smaller, until it looks like just another star among countless others. You keep rising, beyond even the edge of our solar system, where a cloud of icy bodies orbits in the deep cold. You keep rising still, and our solar system becomes just a tiny speck, indistinguishable from any other point of light. And then you rise beyond that, and the sun disappears entirely. The stars around you begin to take on a different arrangement. You're so far away that the constellations we see from Earth, the patterns our ancestors drew into the sky and named after heroes and animals, all of that dissolves into meaninglessness. You rise further still, and the stars begin to lose their individual identity. They begin to blend together into a milky haze, a vast cloud of light that is the Milky Way galaxy, seen from the outside. It looks almost like a spiral nebula, a beautiful swirling dance of light and dust and gravity. But you are still not done. You are not even close to being done. You rise higher, further out, beyond the edges of our galaxy. And suddenly, everywhere you look, in every direction, you see more galaxies. Galaxies above you and below you, and beside you in every conceivable direction. They stretch out to the edge of what we can perceive, and perhaps beyond. And in between these galaxies, in the space between them, there is nothing. There is emptiness. There is void. There is space so empty that you might travel for years without encountering anything at all, except the very faintest wisps of gas and the mysterious invisible matter that physicists tell us makes up most of the universe. This is the emptiness we're going to explore tonight. But something curious begins to happen as we contemplate this emptiness. Something strange and beautiful and deeply philosophical. The emptiness begins to feel less like an absence and more like a presence. The void begins to feel less like nothing and more like something. Close your eyes for a moment, if you haven't already. Imagine that you are floating in that emptiness. Not alone, because you are never truly alone in the universe, but surrounded by space so vast that the concepts of near and far begin to lose all meaning. You are floating in a darkness so complete that light itself seems like a memory, something that happened long ago. And in that darkness, something strange happens. You begin to feel the presence of the universe around you. You begin to sense the distances, the scales, the immensity of it all. And paradoxically, instead of feeling small and insignificant, you begin to feel connected to something vast and eternal. That feeling, that sense of being held by the emptiness, that is what we're going to explore together over the next 2 hours. Because the emptiness of the universe is not empty at all. It is full of mystery. It is full of possibility. It is full of wonder. And we are going to drift through it together, slowly, gently, as you sink deeper and deeper into rest. Let me slow down for a moment, and let's think about how we even came to understand that the universe is so empty. For most of human history, we didn't know any of this. We looked up at the night sky, and we saw the stars, and that was all. We didn't know how far away they were. We didn't know that they were suns like ours. We didn't know that emptiness stretched between them. Our ancestors drew lines between the stars, creating constellations, patterns that connected the pinpricks of light into stories. Orion the Hunter, the Big Dipper, the Southern Cross. These patterns gave shape to the darkness. They made the sky feel less overwhelming, less chaotic. By creating stories and patterns, we made the universe feel like a home, even if it was a home we didn't yet understand. For thousands of years, we thought the earth was the center of everything. This is not a failure of our ancestors. This is not a sign of foolishness. This is a natural conclusion reached by people observing the world around them. The earth feels stable. The sky seems to move around us. The sun rises and sets. The moon appears and disappears. It is easy, from this perspective, to believe that we are the center, that everything revolves around us. But then, slowly, through observation and mathematics and curiosity, we began to realize something different. We began to understand that the earth orbits the sun, that the moon orbits the earth, that Venus and Mercury and Mars and Jupiter and Saturn all orbit the sun as well. We realized that what we saw was not the universe moving around us, but us moving through the universe. And with each realization, with each shift in our understanding, the universe became larger. Our place in it became smaller. But something strange happened. Instead of this making us feel insignificant, it opened up a sense of wonder. Breathe with me for a moment. Let your shoulders relax into the place where you're resting. Feel the weight of your body settling into comfort. Good. As you drift deeper, let me tell you about the moment when we finally understood just how empty the universe really is. It happened slowly, in stages. First, telescopes were invented. Simple telescopes at first, just tubes with curved glass, but they revealed the stars in greater detail. They showed that the Milky Way was not a smooth river of light, but an uncountable collection of individual stars. They showed that there were features on the moon, mountains and valleys. They showed that Jupiter had moons orbiting it, just as the Earth had a moon. Each discovery was a step toward understanding the true scale of things. But the real revelation came much more recently, in the 20th century. An astronomer named Edwin Hubble made an observation that changed everything. He was looking at a telescope, one of the largest and most powerful telescopes in the world at that time, and he was observing what looked like nebulae, cloudy patches in the night sky that scientists weren't quite sure what to make of. Hubble measured the distance to these nebulae, and he discovered something profound. These were not small clouds within our own galaxy. These were entire galaxies unto themselves. Separate universes of stars, each containing billions of stars, each star potentially surrounded by planets. And our galaxy was just one among countless others. Imagine that moment. Imagine being told that everything you thought you understood about the universe had just expanded 1,000,000-fold. The Milky Way, which had seemed vast and incomprehensible, was now revealed to be just one small island among an infinite ocean of similar islands. The universe became infinitely larger in that instant. And here's where the emptiness becomes even more poignant. When Hubble looked at these galaxies, when he measured their distances and their positions, he made another discovery. The galaxies were not evenly distributed. They were not packed tightly together. Instead, they were separated by vast distances of empty space. Think about the arrangement of stars within a galaxy. The stars are far apart, separated by distances measured in light years. But the distances between galaxies are so much larger that they make the distances between stars seem almost intimate, where the distance from one star to another might be measured 1,000,000 light years. Let that sink in. That is the time it would take light to travel from one galaxy to another. Light, the fastest thing in existence, moving at 300,000 kilometers per second, would need 1,000,000 years to make that journey. And in between, there is nothing. There is emptiness. Yet that emptiness is not truly empty. This is one of the great mysteries we will explore as we continue together tonight. The space between the stars and between the galaxies is filled with something. Or rather, it is filled with things we do not fully understand. There is gas, thin and cold and ancient. There is dust, particles of rock and iron, and stranger substances that float in the void. And there is something else, something that scientists have named dark matter, not because it is dark in the sense of being black, but because we cannot see it. We can only detect its effects, its gravitational influence on the visible matter around it. Most of the universe's matter is dark matter, invisible to us, mysterious beyond our current understanding. And there is also dark energy, which is even more mysterious still. Dark energy seems to be the reason that the universe is expanding, that galaxies are moving away from one another faster and faster, accelerating outward in all directions. We do not know what it is. We do not fully understand how it works. But we know it is there, and we know it makes up most of the energy in the universe. So the emptiness that surrounds the stars and the galaxies is not truly empty. It is full of invisible things. It is full of mysteries. It is full of forces and substances that our science is only just beginning to glimpse. Let me paint a picture for you, a visualization to guide you deeper into rest. Imagine you are standing on the shore of a vast ocean. The water stretches out to the horizon, an endless expanse of blue and gray. But this is not water. This is space itself. And in this space, scattered across the surface, are islands. Some islands are small, solitary things, a single peak rising above the waves. These are individual stars, wandering alone through the void. Other islands are vast archipelagos, chains of peaks and valleys rising together from the depths. These are galaxies, collections of billions of stars held together by gravity. Now, imagine if you could see beneath the surface of this ocean. What would you see? You would see currents, vast flows of invisible water that carry the islands along. These currents are gravity, the force that holds galaxies together, that bends space and time itself. You would see streams of luminous particles, threads of matter that sometimes connect one island to another, sometimes form spirals and loops. These are the highways of the universe, the paths along which matter flows and transforms. And you would see something else, something strange. You would see a haze filling the entire ocean, a mist so subtle that it is almost invisible, but present everywhere, in every cubic centimeter of space. This haze is dark matter, the invisible substance that seems to make up most of the matter in the universe. We do not know what it is made of. We do not know why it is there. But we know it is there, because we can see its gravitational effect on the visible matter around it. And even more strange, you would see the entire ocean itself beginning to expand. The islands would be moving away from one another, and that movement would be accelerating. The emptiness between them would be growing larger. And the cause of this expansion, this acceleration, is dark energy, something so mysterious that physicists have almost no idea what it truly is. This is the emptiness of the universe. It is not an absence. It is a presence. It is full of mystery and wonder, and things we do not yet understand. As you continue to drift, to settle deeper into the comfort of these thoughts, I want you to think about what this means. We live in a universe that is mostly empty. Most of space contains nothing that our eyes can see. Most of matter is dark and invisible. Most of energy is dark and mysterious. And yet, in this emptiness, there are islands of light. There are stars and galaxies, and perhaps, in some of those distant galaxies, there are planets with life, with consciousness, with beings looking up at their own night sky and wondering about the emptiness around them. We are made of stardust. This is not poetic license. This is literally true. The atoms that make up your body, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the carbon in your cells, all of these elements were forged in the hearts of dying stars billions of years ago. Those stars exploded, scattering their contents into the universe. Those atoms drifted through the emptiness for eons. And eventually, they came together to form new stars, new planets, new life. You are connected to the universe in the most fundamental way possible. You are not separate from it. You are part of it. The emptiness around you is not alien to you. It is home. Breathe gently. Feel that connection. Feel yourself drifting deeper into the comfort and mystery of it all. There is something deeply relaxing about truly grasping the scales of the universe. When you understand just how vast everything is, when you really let that sink into your consciousness, something shifts. The troubles and anxieties of daily life begin to seem smaller. Not smaller in the sense of being unimportant, but smaller in the sense of being contained within a vastness that is far greater than any individual concern. Let me take you on a journey now, a slow voyage through the scales of space. We'll start small and drift outward, growing larger and larger until we reach scales so vast that numbers and words begin to lose all meaning. We begin here with you. You are roughly 2 meters tall if you're an average adult. 2 meters. You could lie down end to end in your room, and your height would fit comfortably within that space. You are a physical object of a certain size. That is the scale of human experience. That is the scale at which we perceive the world around us. Now, let's expand our perspective slightly. Your city might be 50 kilometers across. That's a distance you could drive in an hour. A larger city might be 100 kilometers across. You can hold the idea of a city in your mind. You can imagine walking through the streets, even if you've never actually done it. Push further. Your country might span thousands of kilometers. If you've traveled by airplane, you've experienced this distance. You know that an 8-hour flight can take you across a continent. The scale is becoming harder to visualize, but it is still within the realm of human experience and travel. Go further still. The Earth itself is about 40,000 kilometers in circumference. That is large, very large, but it is still a distance we can grasp in some way. We know we can fly around the world in about 24 hours if we travel fast enough. The Earth is big, but we can hold it in our minds as a whole object. Now, let's expand again. The distance from the Earth to the Sun is about 150 million kilometers. This is so large that we invented a new unit to measure it. We call it an astronomical unit, or O. It is the average distance from the Earth to the Sun, and we use it as a ruler to measure other distances in our solar system. The solar system, the space occupied by the Sun and all of its orbiting planets and moons and asteroids, is about 100 astronomical units across. That is a sphere with a radius of about 100 times the distance from the Earth to the Sun. But already, at this scale, distance becomes difficult to truly visualize. We can do the math. We can understand that it's 100 O, but we can't really feel it. We can't really grasp it in our bones. And we've only just begun to expand outward. The nearest star to us, Proxima Centauri, is about 4.2 light-years away. A light-year is about 63,000 astronomical units. So the nearest star is about 265,000 astronomical units away. Let me say that again. The nearest star is about 250,000 times the distance from the Earth to the Sun. If the Sun were the size of a golf ball, placed in the middle of a field, the Earth would be a tiny grain of sand about 15 meters away. The nearest star, also a golf ball, would be about 3,000 kilometers away. 3,000 kilometers. That's the distance from one side of a continent to the other. And yet, This is the nearest star. This is our closest neighbor in all the universe. Take a breath. Feel that distance in your chest. Let it settle into you as you drift deeper into comfort. The distances between stars are incomprehensibly vast. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, is about 100,000 light-years across. That means light, traveling at 300,000 kilometers per second, would need 100,000 years to travel from one edge of our galaxy to the other. 100,000 years. That is approximately the time since the last ice age. It is about the time since humans first started creating art, first started speaking languages that might be recognizable as modern human language. Light from the edge of our galaxy would have been traveling since before agriculture, before civilization, before writing, and that is just the width of one galaxy. One island in an infinite ocean. As you settle further, let me expand even more. Let me take you beyond the edge of our galaxy and show you the true emptiness. Between galaxies, space becomes almost incomprehensibly empty. Imagine an expanse of space so vast that there is nothing in it but a few atoms, perhaps one atom per cubic meter, drifting alone in the darkness. This is the space between galaxies. This is the true emptiness that defines the universe. 1,000 cubic meters might contain only 1,000 atoms. Imagine that. Imagine a space the size of a building, a cube 40 meters on each side, containing only 1,000 atoms. That is how empty deep space is. And yet, even here, in this profound emptiness, there is something. There is the hum of radiation left over from the Big Bang, spread throughout the universe, like a whisper from the beginning of time itself. There is gravity, bending and warping the space around distant stars and galaxies. There are the mysterious dark matter and dark energy, invisible but present, shaping the structure of the universe itself. The nearest large galaxy to the Milky Way is Andromeda. It is about 2.5 million light-years away. 2.5 million. If the Milky Way is 100,000 light-years across, then Andromeda is about 25 times that distance away. Imagine the emptiness between us and Andromeda. Imagine the void so deep that if you could somehow see all the way across it, the light would have been traveling since before humans existed on Earth, since before our ancestors descended from the trees and began to walk upright. And Andromeda is one of the nearest galaxies to us. Further out, the emptiness expands even more. Galaxies become fewer and further apart. The distances become so large that light years begin to feel like inadequate measurements. We started using light years because distances were so vast that kilometers seemed silly. But now, even light years seem almost too small. The observable universe, the part we can theoretically see, extends about 46 billion light years in all directions from Earth. 46 billion. That is the distance to the edge of what we can perceive, the edge of the light that has had time to reach us since the universe began. The universe is estimated to have begun about 13.8 billion years ago. So light from objects that are 46 billion light years away must have traveled nearly 3 times the age of the universe to reach us. This is possible because of something called cosmic expansion. The space between us and those distant objects has been expanding while the light was traveling toward us. The universe has been stretching out, pulling those distant galaxies further and further away. Close your eyes if they are still open. Feel the weight of these numbers. Feel the vastness of it all pressing gently down on you, surrounding you, holding you in its immensity. 46 billion light years. The human mind is not equipped to grasp this distance. We can say the words, we can do the math, but we cannot truly feel it in the way that we can feel the distance across a room or the distance to a nearby mountain. And yet, this 46 billion light years is just the observable universe. The universe we can see, the universe from which light has had time to reach us. There may be more universe beyond this horizon, stretching out into distances we can never see, expanding forever in directions we cannot perceive. This is the emptiness. This is the true nature of the cosmos, vast beyond all comprehension, empty in ways that are almost absolute, and yet full of wonder. Let me tell you something that might bring comfort as you drift deeper. In all of this vastness, in all of this emptiness, there is structure. There is order. The universe is not random chaos. There are galaxies clustered together in groups. Those groups cluster together into superclusters. Those superclusters form filaments and sheets, separated by voids. On the largest scales, the universe looks almost like a web, with matter concentrated along the threads and emptiness filling the spaces between. And at every scale, in every location, the same physical laws apply. The same gravity that holds you to the Earth also holds planets to stars. It also holds stars to galaxies. It also shapes the structure of the entire universe. The same atoms that make up your body make up distant stars and galaxies. The same quantum mechanics that governs the behavior of electrons in your cells also governs the behavior of subatomic particles throughout the cosmos. You are not separate from this emptiness. You are not separate from the universe. You are woven into its fabric. You are made from its substance. You are held within its gravitational embrace. Breathe slowly. Let these thoughts settle into you as you sink deeper and deeper into rest. There is a particular kind of peace that comes from floating in emptiness. Not loneliness, but a profound aloneness that is somehow comforting. Let me take you on that journey now. Let me guide you as you drift away from everything familiar and into the void itself. Imagine, if you will, that you are beginning to rise. Your feet leave the ground. Below you, the earth becomes smaller. The horizon curves. The sky begins to darken at the edges, and you can see the thin blue line of atmosphere, the only thing separating you from the vacuum beyond. You continue to rise. The ground becomes a patchwork of colors, brown and green and blue, the continents and oceans and clouds. You can see weather systems swirling, the great hurricanes and fronts that bring rain and wind to the planet's surface. You can see the lights of cities beginning to twinkle as night falls on one side of the planet, and yet you continue to rise. Effortlessly, peacefully, the earth shrinks. The surface features blur together. It becomes a ball, a sphere of blue and white and brown, suspended in darkness. The moon appears beside you, much smaller than you expected. It looks like a lifeless rock, pocked with craters, caught in the gravitational dance with the earth. The sun remains distant but warm, illuminating the solar system with its light. You rise further, and the earth becomes just one world among many. You see Mercury, close to the sun, battered by solar radiation. You see Venus, hidden beneath its thick clouds of sulfuric acid. You see Mars, small and reddish, orbiting further out. The solar system begins to appear as a whole. The planets in their orderly orbits around the central sun. The asteroids between Mars and Jupiter. Countless small rocks drifting in the emptiness. Further out, the ice giants, Neptune and Uranus, orbiting in the cold. And beyond even that, the Oort cloud, a vast sphere of icy bodies surrounding the entire solar system, the last remnants of the solar system's creation, orbiting so far from the sun that the sun is barely visible, a bright star among many other stars. You continue to rise. The sun becomes just another star. Its light, which was so dominant when you were on Earth, begins to fade into the background, indistinguishable from the light of countless other stars around it. The solar system recedes. It becomes a point in space, then a memory. Around you, the stars begin to take on a different arrangement. The familiar constellations of Earth's night sky dissolve. New patterns appear. You are so far away that the three-dimensional positions of the stars are apparent. They are not all at the same distance as they appeared from Earth. They are scattered at varying distances, creating a three-dimensional tapestry of light in the darkness. You float through this landscape of stars, through regions where they cluster more densely, through regions where they are more sparse. Time seems to lose meaning. You might be drifting for hours or years or centuries. The pace of motion becomes gentle and dreamlike. And then, gradually, the individual stars begin to blur together. You are so far away that individual stars can no longer be distinguished. Instead, they form a haze, a luminous cloud. This is the Milky Way galaxy, seen from the outside. It is beautiful in a way that is difficult to describe. It is a spiral, a great pinwheel of light and dust, rotating slowly through the darkness. 100,000 light years across, this galaxy contains 200 billion stars or more, and it is just one among countless billions of other galaxies. You continue to drift, and the Milky Way becomes smaller, becomes just one island of light among many islands. In every direction, in all 6 directions, you see other galaxies. Some are spiral galaxies like the Milky Way, their structures clearly visible even from this distance. Some are elliptical, great spheres or footballs of stars. Some are irregular, torn and twisted by gravitational interactions with neighboring galaxies. The distances between these galaxies are so vast that if you were to move in any direction, it would take millions of years to reach the next galaxy, even if you could travel at the speed of light. And between the galaxies, there is nothing. There is emptiness, vast, profound emptiness. It is so empty that it is almost crushing in its totality. And yet, there is peace in this emptiness. There is a silence that is soothing, a darkness that is comforting. As you float in this emptiness, as you drift deeper into this void, let me tell you what you're truly experiencing. You are experiencing the true nature of the universe. Most of the universe is empty. Most of the space is void. The stars and galaxies that you see, that we see when we observe the cosmos, are rare islands of light in an ocean of darkness. This emptiness is not a mistake. It is not something that went wrong. It is the fundamental nature of the cosmos. And here's where the story becomes even more mysterious. Even in this emptiness, even in regions of space where no stars shine and no galaxies cluster, there is something. There is gravity, invisible and all-pervading, holding the structure of the universe together. There is radiation, the whispered echo of the Big Bang, filling all of space with a faint hum of energy. There is dark matter, invisible but present, comprising more of the universe's mass than all the visible stars and galaxies combined. And there is dark energy, perhaps the greatest mystery of all. Dark energy is not matter. It is not radiation. It is something else entirely. It is the cause of cosmic expansion, the reason that galaxies are moving away from one another. And more than that, in the last few decades, we have discovered that cosmic expansion is accelerating. The universe is not just expanding. It is expanding faster and faster. And the cause of this acceleration is dark energy. We do not know what dark energy is. We have no idea what substance or force could cause such an effect. It is as if the very fabric of space itself is pushing the galaxies apart, as if the emptiness between galaxies is actually some force or energy, driving them further and further apart. Imagine the universe billions of years from now, expanding so quickly that galaxies become separated by distances so vast that light from one galaxy can never reach another. Imagine a universe so empty that no galaxy can see any other galaxy. Each island of light, isolated in a sea of darkness and expansion, completely alone. This may be the fate of the universe. Or it may not. We do not know. But the knowledge that this is even possible, that the universe may be destined for this profound isolation, brings with it a strange kind of calm. As you float in the emptiness now, as you drift deeper and deeper into the void, try to feel the presence of this vast, mysterious cosmos around you. Feel the distance between the galaxies. Feel the silence of the deep space. Feel the subtle pressure of gravity and dark energy shaping the universe into its current form. And try to feel, as well, the connection to it all. Because even though you are so far from any star, even though the nearest star is light years away, even though the nearest galaxy is millions of light years away, you are not truly alone. You are connected to everything in this universe. The atoms in your body come from dying stars. The gravity that holds you are bound to the massive gravitational web that structures the entire cosmos. The energy in your cells is ultimately derived from the light of the sun, which is energy that came from the nuclear fusion in the sun's core, which is the same nuclear fusion that created the heavier elements that make up your body. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are a part of it. You are made of stardust. You are held together by the same forces that hold galaxies together. You are breathing the air of a planet that orbits a star in a galaxy full of stars, all suspended in an infinite emptiness that is itself full of mystery and meaning. Drift deeper now. Let the emptiness surround you. Let the peace of the void settle into your bones. There is nothing to fear in this emptiness. There is only vastness, only mystery, only wonder. Breathe slowly. Feel your body becoming heavier, sinking deeper into whatever surface supports you. Let the weight of the cosmos press down gently, holding you, cradling you as you drift off toward sleep. As you drift even deeper now, let me tell you about the hidden architecture of the universe. Because the emptiness is not random, it is not chaos. It is shaped and structured by forces so profound and ancient that they have been operating since the very first moments of the universe itself. Imagine that you are looking down at the universe from an impossible vantage point. From here, from this perspective, you can see not just individual galaxies, but the vast structures they form together. You can see that galaxies are not scattered randomly throughout space. They cluster together in groups. These groups form superclusters. These superclusters form filaments and sheets, vast walls of galaxies separated by enormous voids. The universe is arranged almost like a three-dimensional web, with matter concentrated along the threads and emptiness filling the spaces between. This structure emerged from the tiniest fluctuations in the early universe. When the universe was very young, mere fractions of a second after the Big Bang, it was filled with matter so hot and dense that normal atoms could not form. But there were tiny variations in density, infinitesimal differences in the concentration of matter from one place to another. These variations were so small, so subtle, that they were almost nothing. And yet, gravity amplified these tiny variations. Over billions of years, the regions of space where there was slightly more matter became denser. More matter fell toward these regions, attracted by gravity. These denser regions grew. Stars formed in them. Galaxies formed. Superclusters formed. The regions where there was slightly less matter became even emptier. Matter drained out of these regions, pulled toward the denser regions by gravity. These voids grew larger and larger, becoming the vast empty spaces that now dominate the structure of the universe. So the emptiness you are floating through, the void that surrounds you, is actually the result of a structure-building process. The emptiness is real, but it is not random. It is part of the cosmic web. Now, let me tell you about what this means. In the very beginning of the universe, about 13.8 billion years ago, everything was packed into an infinitely small point. The entire universe, all of space, all of time, all of matter and energy, compressed into a space smaller than an atom. And then, for reasons we do not fully understand, this infinite point expanded. This is the Big Bang, and it is the moment from which all of time flows. It is not an explosion in space. It is an expansion of space itself. The space that makes up the universe began to expand, and in that expansion, the universe began. In the first fractions of a second, the universe was unimaginably hot. The temperature was so high that fundamental particles could not form stable structures. They existed in a seething soup of raw energy. But as the universe expanded, it also cooled. As the temperature dropped, new structures became possible. After the first few microseconds, the fundamental particles began to clump together, forming protons and neutrons. After the first few minutes, these particles began to combine, forming the nuclei of the lightest elements, hydrogen and helium, and a tiny amount of lithium. The universe was still a hot, dense plasma, a soup of protons and electrons and radiation, but it was cooling. And as it cooled, something remarkable happened. After about 380,000 years, the universe cooled enough that electrons could combine with nuclei to form stable atoms. The universe became transparent. Light, which had been scattered constantly by the sea of free electrons, could now travel freely. The universe became filled with light. This moment is called recombination, and it is one of the most profound moments in cosmic history. After recombination, the universe continued to expand and cool. The radiation that filled the universe began to cool as well, shifting its wavelength, moving from visible light into infrared radiation, then into microwave radiation. Today, 13.8 billion years later, this ancient radiation still fills the entire universe. We call it the cosmic microwave background, and we can still detect it today with sensitive instruments. This ancient light is a message from the early universe, a whisper of the past. And when we examine it carefully, when we look at the tiny variations in its temperature and intensity, we see the imprints of those infinitesimal variations that seeded the structure of the universe. We see the ancestors of galaxies and clusters and superclusters, written in the patterns of ancient light. As you lie there, drifting deeper and deeper toward sleep, let me paint a picture of the early universe for you. Picture an incomprehensible ocean of light and heat. Not light and heat in the way you experience them, but the most fundamental forms of energy possible. This ocean fills all of space, everywhere, in all directions. It is smooth and uniform, almost perfectly smooth, but not quite. There are tiny variations. In some places, the energy is slightly more concentrated than in others. These variations are so small that they seem almost irrelevant. And yet, they are everything. These tiny variations are the seeds from which galaxies will grow. As the universe expands and cools, these variations will be amplified by gravity. They will eventually become the vast filaments and clusters and voids that structure the universe today. Billions of years pass. The universe expands. The light fills it continues to cool. The first stars begin to form, burning hydrogen fuel in their cores. When these stars die, they explode, creating heavier elements. These elements drift through space. Eventually, they are collected by gravity to form new stars, surrounded by planets. On one of those planets, in one of those solar systems, in one of those galaxies, in one of those superclusters, something remarkable happens. Chemistry begins. Atoms combine in complex ways. Molecules form. And eventually, after millions of years, something even more remarkable happens. Life emerges. Life is one of the rarest things in the universe. It requires a planet with the right conditions, with liquid water and a stable atmosphere. It requires that the planet orbits at the right distance from a star, in what astronomers call the habitable zone. It requires so many things to align perfectly that life is almost certainly extraordinarily rare in the cosmos. And yet, here it is. Here you are. You are a living creature, composed of atoms that were forged in the cores of dying stars, organized into structures so complex that they can think, can wonder, can contemplate the universe that created them. You are a tiny island of complexity and consciousness in a vast ocean of emptiness and mystery. And this is the most beautiful thing about the universe. The emptiness is real. The void is vast. But within that emptiness, within that void, there are islands of light and order and complexity and consciousness. Let this knowledge settle into you as you drift deeper. Feel how you are connected to the entire universe, how you are made of stardust and held together by the same forces that structure galaxies. Feel the emptiness around you, but know that you are not alone in it. There are others like you, scattered across the universe on their own small planets, looking up at their own night skies and wondering about the mysteries around them. Breathe gently, sink deeper. Let the knowledge of the cosmic architecture soothe you as you drift toward sleep. There is something deeply peaceful about acknowledging mysteries. When you accept that there are things in the universe that you do not understand, that nobody understands, they perhaps can never be fully understood, something shifts inside. The constant pressure to understand everything, to have answers to all questions, relaxes. And in that relaxation, there is peace. As you drift deeper and deeper, let me tell you about some of the profound mysteries that dwell in the emptiness of the universe. The first and perhaps greatest mystery is the Big Bang itself. We know the universe is expanding. We can see that galaxies are moving away from one another. We can trace that expansion backwards in time, and it leads us to a point where the universe was infinitely dense and infinitely hot. We call that point the Big Bang. But the Big Bang is not an explosion in the universe. It is an explosion of the universe. It is the origin of space and time themselves. And here is the mystery. Why did the Big Bang happen? What caused the universe to expand? What was there before the Big Bang? These questions may be unanswerable. The very concept of before the Big Bang may not make sense, because time itself began with the Big Bang. There is no before, in the same way that there is no north of the North Pole. The question is technically meaningless, and yet we ask it, we wonder. And in wondering, we glimpse something profound about the human mind. We are creatures who want to understand, who want to know the ultimate origins of things, even when such knowledge may be forever beyond our reach. As you relax deeper, imagine floating in the darkness, surrounded by this ultimate mystery. Imagine not needing to know the answer, but simply floating in the question itself. There is peace in accepting what you do not know. Another great mystery is dark matter. We know it exists. We can see its gravitational effects on visible matter and on light, but we have no idea what it is. Scientists have proposed many candidates. Perhaps it is composed of exotic particles that we have not yet discovered. Perhaps it is tiny black holes scattered throughout the universe. Perhaps it is something so strange and unexpected that we have not even thought to look for it yet. Dark matter makes up about 85% of all the matter in the universe. Everything we can see, all the stars and planets and galaxies and dust, makes up only about 15%. We are swimming in a universe made mostly of something we do not understand. Imagine that. Imagine being completely surrounded by something and having no idea what it is. Not threatening, not dangerous, just present, just there. Invisible but real. It is a humbling thought. And then there is dark energy, the mystery even deeper than dark matter. Dark energy makes up about 68% of the energy content of the universe. And we have almost no idea what it is. We know it causes cosmic expansion to accelerate. We know it is distributed throughout all of space. We know it is not matter, not radiation, not any form of energy that we are familiar with. Some physicists think dark energy might be the energy of the vacuum itself, a zero-point energy that exists even in completely empty space. Others think it might be a cosmological constant, a fundamental property of the universe itself. Others have more exotic ideas, but nobody knows for sure. And the fact that we do not know is part of what makes the universe so beautiful. The universe is still full of mysteries. There are still things waiting to be discovered, waiting to astonish us. Close your eyes and feel the presence of these mysteries around you. Dark matter, invisible, pressing down with its gravity, holding the universe together. Dark energy, spreading out, pushing space to expand faster and faster. And in between, the visible universe, the stars and galaxies, burning and turning and living for a few billion years before fading into darkness. Now let me tell you about another mystery that dwells in the depths of the universe. Black holes? A black hole is a region of space where gravity is so intense that nothing can escape from it, not even light. If you could somehow approach a black hole, you would notice that the fabric of space itself was becoming warped and twisted. As you got closer, the warping would become more and more extreme, until you reached a point called the event horizon, the point of no return. Beyond that point, space itself is curved so sharply that all paths lead inward, toward the center, toward the singularity. A singularity is a point where the density becomes infinite, where all the matter is crushed into a space of zero volume. It is a point where the laws of physics break down, where our equations no longer work. It is a place of absolute mystery, a place where the universe itself seems to transform into something we cannot comprehend. And these black holes exist in the universe. We have evidence of them. We have detected their gravitational effects on nearby stars. We have even captured images of them, shadows outlined against the light of surrounding gas. Most galaxies, including our own Milky Way, have a supermassive black hole at their centers. These black holes are millions or even billions of times the mass of the Sun. They sit at the heart of galaxies, their gravity holding the galaxy together, their influence shaping the very structure of the cosmic web. Imagine that. Imagine at the center of every great island of light and stars, there is a region of such extreme gravity, such twisted space, that it becomes almost a doorway to another realm entirely. A realm where physics breaks down, where our understanding ends. As you float in the darkness, imagine the presence of these black holes, scattered throughout the universe. Not threatening, not close, but present, waiting in the darkness, slowly devouring whatever falls into them, gradually growing larger as they consume stars and gas and whatever else drifts too close. There is a strange beauty in the black hole, a terrible beauty. It is a place where the universe itself seems to end, where reality seems to transform into something incomprehensible. And yet, it is real. It is out there, in the darkness, waiting. Let me tell you about one more mystery, and then we will drift even deeper into the night. The mystery of consciousness. You are conscious. As you lie there, listening to these words, you are aware. You have thoughts. You have feelings. You have sensations. You are experiencing the universe from a particular point of view, through the lens of your own subjective awareness. And we have no idea how consciousness arises. We know that consciousness is related to the brain, to the activity of neurons firing and connecting. But we do not know how neural activity gives rise to subjective experience. We do not know why we are not just unconscious biological machines, automatons responding to stimuli. We do not know why there is something it is like to be you, why there is a subjective experience accompanying our neural activity. This is called the hard problem of consciousness, and it is one of the deepest mysteries in science. And here is something even more remarkable. You, a conscious being, are made of atoms that were forged in the cores of dying stars. You are organized matter, arranged in such a way that it became conscious. You are the universe becoming aware of itself. The atoms that make up your brain have been in the universe for billions of years. They have been part of many different things. They have been part of rocks and dust and other stars. And eventually, through a vast chain of cause and effect, they came together to form you, to form a conscious being, to form a mind that can think and wonder and contemplate the universe. This is not a coincidence. This is not random. This is the universe unfolding according to physical laws that were set in place at the very beginning. And through that unfolding, through billions of years of stars dying and reforming and life emerging and evolving, the universe eventually gave rise to consciousness. You are the universe's way of knowing itself. You are a small pocket of order and complexity in a vast universe of emptiness and mystery. And that is beautiful. As you drift deeper now, as you sink into the comfort and mystery of these thoughts, let them settle into you. Let the darkness of the universe surround you. Let the mysteries of dark matter and dark energy, and black holes and consciousness wash over you like a gentle wave. You do not need to understand these mysteries. You only need to accept their existence. You only need to let them soothe you with their profound unknowability. Mysteries are not something to fear. They are something to rest in. They are something to find peace in. Breathe slowly. Feel your body becoming heavier. Feel yourself sinking deeper and deeper into a darkness that is not frightening, but comforting. A darkness that holds all the mysteries of the universe within it. A darkness that is home. There is a paradox at the heart of the universe. The universe is almost completely empty. The distances between stars are vast beyond comprehension. The distances between galaxies are even more vast. And yet, within this profound emptiness and isolation, there is a deep connection that binds everything together. Let me tell you about solitude first, because it is in solitude that we find the deepest truth about the universe. As you drift even deeper now, imagine yourself floating in the void, far from any galaxy, far from any star. You are alone in a darkness, so complete that there is nothing around you for millions of light years. You are completely isolated. No matter how far you travel in any direction, you will encounter nothing but empty space and the rare wisps of gas. This is the reality of the universe for most of space. The universe is almost entirely empty. Most of the cosmos is a void of incomprehensible loneliness. And yet, in this solitude, there is peace. There is no noise, no distraction, no demands on your attention. There is only the darkness and the distant light of faraway galaxies, and the slow, inevitable forces of gravity and expansion, pulling everything apart. There is something liberating about this. In a universe so vast and so empty, your own problems and worries become almost meaningless. Not meaningless in a negative way, but meaningless in the sense of being held within something so much larger than yourself that they become small and manageable. Imagine floating in that emptiness and feel the weight of your concerns lifting. Feel the pressure of daily life becoming lighter and lighter as the vastness of the universe surrounds you. You are so small in this universe. You are infinitesimally small. And in being so small, you are free. But now let me tell you about the other side of the paradox. The side of connection. Everything in the universe is connected. This is not poetic metaphor. This is literal truth. The atoms that make up your body come from stars that died billions of years ago. The iron in your blood was forged in the heart of a massive star that exploded. The calcium in your bones was created in a different star. The carbon in your cells, the nitrogen in your proteins, the oxygen you breathe, all of these elements were created in the cores of stars, or in the explosions of stars. You are literally made of stardust. You are the universe experiencing itself. And it goes deeper than that. Gravity connects everything. The gravity that holds you to the earth is the same gravity that holds the moon to the earth, that holds planets to the sun, that holds stars to galaxies, that holds galaxies together in clusters and superclusters. It is one force, one fundamental interaction that shapes the entire universe. Space and time are also connected. Einstein taught us that space and time are not separate things. They are woven together into a fabric called space-time. And matter and energy bend and warp this fabric. The mass of the sun bends space-time around it, and the Earth's orbit is actually the Earth following the straightest possible path through that curved space-time. You are moving through bent space right now. The gravity of the Earth is bending space-time around you, and you are following that bend, just as the Earth follows the bend in space-time created by the sun. Everything is connected to everything else through this fabric of space-time and the forces of nature. You are part of a vast web that connects you to the most distant galaxy, to the most ancient star, to every particle of matter and energy in the universe. As you lie there, drifting deeper and deeper, feel this connection. Feel how you are not separate from the universe, but woven into it. Feel how the atoms of your body are the same atoms that have existed since the beginning of time, rearranged and recombined in countless ways. You are not a separate consciousness trapped in a body isolated from the universe. You are the universe expressing itself through the form of a human being. You are a local manifestation of the vast cosmic whole. And here is where the paradox becomes beautiful. You are isolated. You are the only perspective on the universe, quite like yours. The way you see the world, the way you think, the way you feel, is unique to you. No one else has ever experienced the universe in quite this way, and no one ever will. You are alone in that sense. And yet, you are profoundly connected to everything. You are made of the same atoms as distant stars. You are held together by the same forces that structure galaxies. You are part of the same universe that has been unfolding for 13.8 billion years. This is the paradox of human existence in a vast cosmos. We are alone, and we are connected. We are isolated, and we are unified. We are individuals, and we are expressions of something vast and eternal. As you drift deeper, let this paradox comfort you. Let the isolation soothe you, because it means that your struggles are your own, that you are free to find your own path. And let the connection comfort you as well, because it means that you are never truly alone, that you are held within something vast and meaningful. Imagine now that you are floating in the void, but you are not alone. All around you, invisible, are the threads of connection that link you to everything else. You cannot see them, but you can feel them. The gravity holding you in place. The atoms of your body, connected to distant stars. The consciousness in your mind, itself a manifestation of the same laws of nature that govern the rest of the universe. Feel these connections. Rest in them. Let them hold you as you drift deeper and deeper toward sleep. The universe is not indifferent to you, though it may seem to be. The universe is not cruel, though it is vast beyond comprehension. The universe simply is, unfolding according to laws that have been the same since the beginning of time. And you, within that unfolding, are not insignificant. You are an expression of the universe's own nature. You are the way the universe knows itself, and that is enough. That is everything. Breathe deeply. Feel the peace of understanding that you are alone and connected, isolated and unified, small and significant. Feel the weight of the cosmos pressing down gently, holding you, cradling you. Feel yourself sinking deeper and deeper into rest, into the embrace of the infinite. We have journeyed far together. We have traveled from the familiar ground beneath your feet to the edge of the observable universe. We have explored the emptiness and the mysteries. We have touched on the paradox of isolation and connection. And now, as we approach the end of our journey, as your eyes grow heavier and your breath becomes slower, let me guide you into the deepest rest. Imagine that you have slowed your drift through space. You are no longer moving fast, ascending higher and higher, traveling vast distances. Instead, you are hanging suspended in the darkness, floating quietly, perfectly still. Around you, there is nothing but darkness and the faint, distant light of galaxies so far away that their light has been traveling for billions of years just to reach this point. The silence of space surrounds you, not silence in the sense of sound, but the absence of sound. There is no vibration, no noise. There is only the gentle hum of existence itself, the whisper of radiation that has been traveling since the beginning of time. There is the soft pull of gravity, shaping space around you, holding you in a gentle embrace. Feel your breathing becoming slower. Feel your heartbeat becoming quieter. Feel the boundaries between yourself and the space around you becoming less distinct. You are floating in the emptiness, and the emptiness is floating through you. Let me speak to you now very softly. As you sink deeper and deeper, the words may become harder to follow. You may find your attention drifting, and that is perfect. That is exactly as it should be. You have come to understand, over the course of our journey together, that the universe is almost entirely empty. The stars are islands of light separated by vast distances of dark and silence. The galaxies are clusters of islands floating in an ocean of emptiness. And between the galaxies, there is void upon void, separation upon separation, distance upon distance. And this emptiness is not a tragedy. It is not a mistake. It is the natural state of the universe. It is what the universe is. Space is empty. Matter is rare. Consciousness is rarer still. And you, a conscious being floating on a small planet, orbiting a star in the outer reaches of a galaxy, you are one of the rarest things in the universe. But your rarity does not make you less. It makes you more. It makes you precious. You are a tiny pocket of order and awareness in an infinite universe of chaos and mystery. You are the universe knowing itself. As you drift now, imagine that you can hear the universe breathing. Imagine that the expansion of space, the slow pulling apart of galaxies, is the breath of the cosmos itself. The universe is breathing out, expanding, growing larger and more spread out. And with each breath, the emptiness between galaxies becomes deeper. The isolation becomes more complete. But with each breath as well, the connections between all things become more clear, more profound. You are part of this breathing. Your own breath, the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, is part of the universe's breath. You are the universe breathing through your lungs. Feel that now. Feel the connection between your breath and the breath of the cosmos. With each inhale, you are drawing in atoms that have been circulating through the universe for billions of years. With each exhale, you are sending those atoms back out to be incorporated into other things, other beings, other expressions of the universe's creativity. Your body is not your own. It belongs to the universe. It is on loan from the stars. Someday, when your body dies, when the arrangement of atoms that constitutes your form dissolves, those atoms will return to the universe. They will become part of the soil, part of plants, part of animals, perhaps part of new human beings. The atoms will persist. Only the form will change. And perhaps, in some way that we do not yet understand, your consciousness, your awareness, your sense of being alive will also return to the universe. Perhaps consciousness is not something unique to brains. Perhaps it is woven into the fabric of the universe itself. Perhaps when you die, your consciousness does not end, but transforms, becomes part of something larger, something that encompasses the entire cosmos. These are mysteries. We do not know if they are true, but they are beautiful to contemplate as you drift toward sleep. Let your eyes grow heavier now. Feel them wanting to close. Feel the muscles around your eyes becoming relaxed and loose. The weight of sleep is beginning to press down on you gently, like a blanket, like the soft embrace of the universe itself. As you lie there, imagine that you are still floating in space. But now, the darkness around you is becoming softer. The stars are fading. The edges of things are blurring. The separation between your body and the space around it is becoming less distinct. You are no longer floating in space. You are becoming space. You are becoming the emptiness itself. There is peace in this dissolution of boundaries. There is rest in this merging with the void. You are no longer alone because you have become one with everything. You are no longer searching for meaning because you have realized that you are meaning, that your existence is itself significant, that your life is an expression of the universe's own nature. Let this knowledge soothe you as you drift deeper. Let the emptiness surrounding you become the emptiness inside you, the quiet space where thoughts dissolve and rest takes over. The universe has been expanding for 13.8 billion years. It will continue to expand for trillions of years more. You are so small in the vastness of cosmic time. Your life is but a moment, a blink, a whisper in the infinite. And yet, that moment is precious. Your life matters. Not because it changes the universe on a cosmic scale. Not because it is significant in the grand scheme of billions of galaxies. But because it is your life. It is the lens through which the universe is experiencing itself. It is the way the cosmos has chosen to know itself at this particular moment in time. in this particular location. Your consciousness is the universe aware of itself, and that is everything. That is the meaning you seek. Feel now how your breath is becoming shallower. Feel how your attention is drifting, becoming less focused. The words I am speaking are becoming distant, less important. The sound of my voice is becoming like the gentle wind, like the soft rustle of something far away. Let yourself drift. Let the words and the story begin to dissolve into silence. You do not need to understand anymore. You do not need to think anymore. You only need to rest. Imagine that you are floating in the void, and the void is infinite, and the infinity is peaceful. There is no destination. There is nowhere to arrive at. There is only the floating, only the drifting, only the slow, gentle sinking into deeper and deeper rest. The universe is breathing. You are breathing with it. Your heartbeat is the heartbeat of the cosmos itself. Your thoughts are the thoughts of an infinite intelligence expressing itself through a billion forms. And right now, in this moment, your only task is to rest, to let go, to drift. The emptiness of the universe is not something to fear. It is something to rest in. The darkness is not hostile. It is home. The silence is not lonely. It is peaceful. The distance between stars is not isolation. It is freedom. You have journeyed far enough. You have traveled as far as you need to travel. Now it is time to arrive nowhere. It is time to rest in the emptiness that is everything. It is time to close your eyes and sleep. The universe will continue without you for a moment. The galaxies will continue to move away from one another. The dark energy will continue to accelerate the expansion. The dark matter will continue to hold the structure of reality together. The stars will continue to burn and die and create new atoms. Life will continue to emerge and evolve and experience itself in countless ways. And you will rest. You will drift in the darkness. You will sleep in the embrace of the infinite cosmos. Your breathing has become very slow now, very gentle. Each breath carries you deeper. Each exhale releases you further into the darkness. You are so tired. Your body is so heavy. The weight of the universe is pressing down on you, holding you, and that pressure feels like the most comforting thing in the world. The boundaries between your consciousness and the void are becoming very thin. Soon they will dissolve entirely. Soon you will become indistinguishable from the emptiness. And in that merging, there will be peace beyond words, rest beyond thought, sleep that encompasses everything. But before we arrive at that final dissolution, let me say this one last time. You are loved by the universe. The same atoms that make up your body make up the stars and galaxies. The same forces that shaped your form shape the cosmos. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe expressing itself, and the universe loves itself. Therefore, you are loved. Rest now. Rest in that knowledge. Rest in the darkness. Rest in the infinite. Rest in the endless emptiness that is somehow full of everything that matters. Your eyes are closing now. Your consciousness is drifting. The words are becoming silence. The story is becoming the sound of your own breathing, the beating of your own heart, the quiet rhythm of life itself. Sleep well, traveler of the cosmos. Sleep well in the emptiness. Sleep well in the darkness that is not dark, in the void that is not empty, in the rest that is everything. The universe dreams, and you are the universe dreaming. Sleep, sleep, sleep. And as your eyes close, the Milky Way spirals silently in the darkness. The galaxies continue their ancient dance, moving away from one another, alone together in the vast, peaceful emptiness. The atoms of your body rest exactly where they belong, in a universe that is both infinite and intimate. Your consciousness drifts deeper and deeper into the peaceful darkness. And the universe, in all its emptiness and fullness, continues its eternal unfolding.